Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Let's actually get straight into today's market. So interesting what's happening with today's market, right? Really interesting. I'm so excited about these markets, guys. I'm just jumping out of my skin of excitement. There's so much activity, so much things happening, moving. And I love it. I absolutely love this volatility. I love the way I'm trading right now, and I'm just having a really good time. And I hope you guys are, when you're trading right, you're risking small, you're gaining big, and all that sort of stuff. I just hope you're doing really well. If you'd like to learn how I trade the markets, guys, you like to see how I scan the markets and learn how I trade options over the markets as well too, then I'm running a live web class today where you'll be able to see my trading strategy, how I scan the markets using scanning technology, and then how I trade options as well too. I'm going to lay it all out on my next live web class today. So go to johnslivetraining.com and you'll be able to get access to all that. Now, let me actually go through now and share with you what I'm seeing right now on the markets, right? So really interesting what we're seeing here. I'm so excited about this, guys, all right? I'm really excited about what's going on right now in the markets. If I go to and I have a look at let me bring up my larger screen through here. All right. If I bring up my larger screen through here, right, we can see how on the Dow Jones that we've had, let me just bring up a bit more of a shorter time frame here. All right. So if we look at this one here, right, look what's happening through here. Firstly, we had this rise up. Okay. We had this nice rise up with the Dow Jones. Really nice rise up. And then what happened is we broke to the downside, and then now we've continued to fall through on the Dow Jones there, right? So I continue breaking out and break to the downside. So that's what we're seeing through there, and that's what's happening right now. Now, the really interesting thing is that when you look at this weekly chart over here, all right, this weekly chart, this little pullback through here could indeed just be a very short-term move. That's not a change in trend. We're still continuing this pullback through here. We're almost at this level of support. You can see this whole resistance level through here, and this whole resistance level all through here as well too. So this resistance here, and then the market runs up, and then we had a nice pullback, and then we're at that level of support. So that's what we're looking at through there for that. Plus also we can see how on this weekly chart, we see we're at pretty much right at this level of support. So that's the reason why we actually bounced. We gapped down, but you can see how we're holding here strong. Now, what's also happened is, let me bring up this chart here. What also happened today as well too is we had a bit of a gap, and we've had a definite gap down in this market here, right? So a definite nice gap down in the market, and that's what we see through there. So so you can see that that's what's going on right now in the markets through here, right? So a bit of a gap down. I would say that gap's probably likely to be filled. We may continue down a little bit more from here, but we are at this level of support on the Dow Jones, which is quite interesting. So so it's really interesting to see that that's what's going on through there. If I bring up the S&P 500 as well too, guys, we can see how on the S&P 500 that we have actually had a bit of a pullback here on this weekly chart here, right? This weekly chart has had a bit of a pullback through here, and we can see how that the next weekly resistance level, if I bring up those levels there, we can see how, actually, let me just delete this off the screen. Let me delete that off the screen, and let me delete that off the screen as well too, right? So then the market rose up, and then the market had a nice rise up, and then we actually pulled back, and we had a bit of a breakdown to the downside. We had a bit of a gap here as well too. So that's basically what's happened through there as well too. So the gap that's happening right now, I just saw something on the other screen, don't worry. Bring it on. This gap we're seeing right now on the S&P is really interesting because the next major level of support is down through here somewhere. So we may be getting ready for a bit more of a pullback here on the S&P 500. Where the Dow Jones, it's really interesting, right? The S&P is pretty far away from its support level, but the Dow Jones right? The Dow Jones right now is really, 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 really interesting to see that we're actually getting a bit of a breakout. And we're now just pretty much right at that level of support. So we do have a bit of a gap here, guys. So I would say this gap's probably likely to be filled pretty quickly. And same for the Nasdaq as well too, right? We can see with the Nasdaq, even though the Nasdaq did actually break to the downside here, I do see we're probably likely to see, or maybe we're probably likely to see a bit more of a pullback here, I would say, and then probably likely to see a continue up. I still do see this Dow Jones probably heading up towards this 28,000, maybe 29,000 Dow. This gap now has just been a bit of a price reset, which means we've had a move up. And now we're getting a bit of a pullback. I believe this pullback is probably likely to be pretty short-lived on a short-term basis. On a short-term basis, we may get a bit more of a pullback, but we're probably likely then to continue up. But that's what I'm seeing there right now, guys. But if the market does continue to sell up quite strongly, and we start to break below all these levels of support through here, and also all these levels of support through here, then I'm telling you right now, guys, that it's a complete game changer, right? It is a complete game changer in the markets, and we are then now likely to completely change trend, and that will completely surprise everyone. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the exact top or not, but by looking at this chart right now, and by looking at what we're seeing here right now on the daily charts and on this weekly charts, is that if this is the final high, which may or may not be, we don't know yet. But if we start to get a really good close below both these major levels of support on the weekly, then that's pretty weak there, right? Pretty weak and pretty ugly for that there. So and then what will happen is that's probably likely to change the trend. Now remember, right? We have this low, we have this higher low, and we have this higher low. Okay, so by looking at these, let me just delete everything off the screen here. By looking at that, we still could be forming some sort of a higher low around here, or somewhere maybe even around where this circle is. So if you see this on the daily chart to the left, low, we have this higher low through here, and we have this higher low through here as well too, right? So we can see that that's what's actually going on right now. So we could actually still be forming some sort of higher low and then a continuation up. What will be interesting is that if we do continue down, if we continue down through to here, then this whole move to the upside was one big ultimate false breakout. And then I would say we're now likely to probably start to see a bit of a downward movement from there. So if this is a false breakout and we continue down and we continue breaking below both these support levels, then I would say this is now a false breakout because we actually broke to the upside and then we broke back down. This is now a false breakout. If that happens, we're probably likely to start to see a move back down towards, on the Dow Jones, we can see long-term supports around that 24,000 at the moment. And same for the S&P 500 as well too. That long-term support level there, it's probably not exact through there, but probably around that 27.5 level there. And the Nasdaq major level of support is, let me just draw that trend line right now. So looking at this level through here, we're probably likely to see, if this is the exact high, let me actually just delete all this off the screen here. Let me delete that. Right. And then we had this resistance level through here, right? So once again, the Nasdaq broke up. If we completely break down through here, then that's probably likely to be a false breakout. And then we're probably likely to start to see, once again, we're probably just trying to get more of a, all right, probably something like that as well too, I would say, by looking at these, this support level back here, support. We had all this support level through here, then we broke up. Now we're going sideways. So if we do continue breaking back down below this resistance level here, that tells me it's likely to be a false breakout. Then we're probably likely to start to see a pretty strong sell-off overall. If I open up this chart right up and I go back to my monthly chart here, you can see where my monthly chart here, this is the long-term monthly charts. So you can see where these levels do come into play. So is this a false breakout? If so, probably likely to continue down. Next support levels down through here. And then this next levels of support is down through here somewhere. on the Nasdaq. If I go to the S&P 500, we can see the S&P 500 has been pretty much in this strong upward trend through here. And we almost got to that resistance level, but now we're sort of backing off a little bit. So, and then also the Dow Jones as well too. So we can see that that's what's going on right now, guys, in the markets. I don't believe, by looking at what I'm seeing here right now, I don't believe that this is the final high. It may or may not be, we don't know. But I believe it's by looking at this chart, this is probably likely to be just a bit of a sell-off, get people all freaked out. This is the top, so on and so forth in the markets before it crashes. Now, just remember, guys, a crash takes many years to happen, not one day or 1 month. So now, if that does happen, we will go with that, all right? But right now, there's still a very high probability chance that this is probably going to be creating some sort of high low where we are right now, and then the market continues up from there. So that's what we're looking at through there, guys. So, guys, if you'd like to learn how I trade the markets, how I use scanning to how I scan the markets to find my trades, and then also how I use options. How I trade the market every single day with trading options, then join me on my next live web class at johnslivetraining.com. So make sure you go do that right now. Before you go, I am giving away a free trial to the Master Trader Lab with all the different trading courses you can see on the screen right now. So go to mastertraderlab.com right now. I'm running a special over the next few days. So go to mastertraderlab.com to get a free trial to all the different trading courses you can see on the screen right now. So go to mastertraderlab.com.